Happy Multichrome Monday. In today's video, I'm going to be swatching all of the Danessa Myricks Chrome Flakes. These are all the shades they have launched so far, at least at the time that I'm filming this video, which is March 2023. I'm sure they will be coming out with more shades in the future. I'm going to be swatching these by color. First, just with my arm with no sort of black base, and then I will also show these to you on a black base. And then I will create a look and show you how I use these. I do have a video up previously. It is a little bit of an older video, so I do kind of want to update a little bit. So let's start off with the swatches on bare skin. So if you're not familiar with this product, these are basically multichrome flakes that are suspended in a gel or a liquid type of formula. I have gotten some shadows that have a little bit of inconsistency. Some are a little bit thicker than others. Specifically, Starburst for me is very liquidy compared to the other shades, and also Shooting Star used to be pretty liquidy, but it has settled a little bit. It's actually thicker now, so that is something to definitely keep in mind before you invest in any of these, because they are on the pricey side at $25 a pop. I feel like that is pretty steep for what these are, and because they are a gel in a jar, so that makes them a bit more prone to drying out. So make sure you're getting a color or two, maybe max 3 of these in colors that you absolutely love and you know you will get a lot of use out of. Some of these were a little harder to swatch because they were so thick. They actually didn't like want to come off my finger onto my arm. They just wanted to stay and move around on my finger. And I will talk about my favorite way to apply these onto the lid in the tutorial portion. Personally, my favorite ones are the ones that are a little bit more on the sheer side versus the ones that are a little bit on the darker, kind of jeweled, toned multichrome side that you might be familiar with from the black-based kind of multichrome eyeshadows that are finely milled. When you open one of these, there's a little kind of foam thin piece that is almost like glued down over to seal it, and then there's another like thicker cushion with a silver foil on the bottom. And actually on the Beautylish website, on the product page, they do say to remove the thinner foam but leave the thicker one in the cap so that you preserve these and the formula for the longest time possible. Another option will be just like with any type of liquid gel type of formula, you can also keep these in the fridge to help with the longevity. But I think overall, especially for the $25 price tag, you want to make sure to try to get as much use out of these and not overwhelm yourself with too many jars. Of course, I have all the shadows, but that is one, because I do enjoy these. Two, I think it's helpful for me to be able to make a video for you, and I just love using these in reels as well, and just as a little bit of pop of extra sparkle on the lid. I am not a fan of loose flakies whatsoever, but I do appreciate the kind of specific look that they do have to offer. So these just make it so much easier to use flakies on your lids. There are quite a few indie brands that have come out with gel multichrome flakes, and I have some videos up on my channel already on Earthly Cosmetics, or previously Alien Cosmetics. Bella Beauty Bar, Shellwe Makeup, and Sugar Drizzle are some of them, and I do have dedicated videos on those that I will link down in the description box, and I did do swatch comparisons in those videos. These indies overall do have a better price tag on their gel multichrome flakes. However, just because they are gel formulas doesn't mean that they're the same exact formula, and I did talk about that in the videos on those specific products. Personally, these gel multichrome flakes from Danessa Myricks are my favorite formula. Another reason I would definitely recommend the lighter base, the more sheer shade, is because you can layer them over a black base and really get them to pop. You can of course also layer them on top of colorful eyeshadow to bring out the different shifts. Now let's get into the tutorial. Going into the Primal palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. Going into Winged right into the crease. And then I'm taking a little bit of Exotic just right in there. And then I'm going to slowly blend it up. But I definitely don't want this to overtake the look. Next, I'm taking Instinct. I'm going to create an eyeshadow wing essentially with that. Taking it right across my lash line. Just going back in with a bit more. And I'm going to take a little bit of Nocturnal as well, just to deepen it up further, but keeping it really close to my lash line. I'm going to take a little bit of Nocturnal underneath my lower lash line just to connect with the outer corner. I'm going to be using a silicone applicator to apply Pride onto the wing portion. My preference of application for the chrome flakes in general is definitely a silicone applicator. Just personally, it makes it so easy to use. I definitely would not recommend a finger. You can, of course, try it out and see for yourself. Everyone's different. But personally, I prefer this. Also, if you use a finger, you might get a little bit more of a wash of color, which might be something you like. But you can also do that with a brush as well without getting your fingers dirty. And I'm just going to go in with a little bit more. The key with these is you don't want to put on too much unless that is the look you're going for, because these will accentuate skin texture if you use a lot. They do just look a little chunky on the lids, and that way you might also have some longevity issues, especially if you have hooded eyes. So really the huge key with these is, number one, go in with a light hand, start with a little bit. And number two, especially if you have hooded lids, make sure you let this dry down before you open your eyes, because otherwise it will start drying and you will immediately crease it because it was not done setting yet. You can use a fan to speed up the process of drying down. I'm going to be using Cupid, and that's going to go right here on my lid essentially, and I'm going to be using a brush to show you how it applies with a brush. This is a ColourPop E18 brush. I'm pretty sure it's from a brush set. But you definitely want to make sure you're using a synthetic brush with these, just to make sure you don't ruin your natural hair brushes. So this is about how much I picked up, and that's what it looks like picked up on the brush. And then I'm just going to start stamping it on, and not really swiping, but if you want it more opaque, if you want to pick up more, you can of course do that and swipe it more. But it is distributing nicely just by tapping, but you can swipe as well. So now again, I cannot stress this enough, you have to let this dry down. You do not need to use any sort of tacky primer for these. These already have a formula that will dry down to be budge proof, but of course you have to allow it the time to dry down, and the more you use, the thicker the layer, the longer it will take to dry. And if you have hooded lids, the more likely you will experience creasing. So here's the look, and this is how it looks dried down, and even you can see dried down the moment my lid relaxes, the skin does fold over, and because it is dried down and they are flakies versus just a regular smooth eyeshadow formula, you can see some texture on my lid in terms of my skin. Now this does go away to an extent for the most part. I can feel them on my lid, which again is why I recommend not going in with a lot of product, because you will feel this on the lid. But in a few minutes, maybe like 5, 10, 15 minutes, that feeling will go away, because one, my lid is going to get used to that feeling of that texture on the lid, and two, the skin is just going to do its thing where it's just gonna be stretching, opening, closing, and the product's just going to move with it. So here's the finished look. So that's everything for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you found this video helpful, and also which shade is your favorite, and if you try these and what you think of them. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe if you love shiny, shifty content. There's so much Multichrome content uploading my channel and much more to come. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.